I learned how to do that all by myself. Mm. But how you been, Amber?
Um, a bit better. Just really tired because
Yeah.
I've been crying so much recently. So yeah, I've been needing like more time for resting and just being inward and meditation.
You're purging something?
Yeah,
Yeah. Those times when there are times when we're purging something and all we want to do is cry, but we don't know why.
yeah,
Like, why am I crying? Nothing's really wrong,
mm,
right? Well, it's those deep things that still need to go into healing, right? They're still there, right? They're still there. And it's at those times when you're like, hello, I'm being overlooked. They're like, hello, I'm being overlooked. There's
yeah.
feelings in here. There's feelings in here. And sometimes they just come out in a bunch of tears. And it's so cleansing. A lot of times I cry in the car when I'm driving s by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what's interesting? I watch other people in their cars. I don't know why. But I'll look over and a lot of people do that. A lot of people are crying in their cars by themselves. Yeah. Like the first like couple, I was like, gosh, they must be fighting with somebody or got some bad news or something. But I realized that they're freaking purging like everybody else does when they get in their car and listen to their own music,
Mm,
Yeah,
right?
totally.
And it's it surprised me because I don't know, I'm a people watcher. But here's this. What did you love about yourself in all of your love relationships? So, what did you love about yourself in all of your love relationships? And I'm assuming that I'm not going to assume, I'm just going to put in there relationships with our siblings, our parents, as well as romantic relationships as well. Um, the actual question was in there, but I lost it. What did you love about yourself in all those relationships, right? Um, I don't, it's interesting that I feel like I have to go back and look at the important ones individually. When I say important ones, like the life altering ones, like my children and the people I've been married to and e- everybody before Lee, BL. Um, I don't I feel like I loved myself in different ways with different people, but never all at the same time did I ever love myself fully with any of them. Not even my mom, because as I got older, right? Yeah, things happen. Um, as you get older and you realize that you don't want to be like that. I don't want to be like her, right? And then the older you get, you realize that you're more like her than you wanted to be.
mm-hmm.
And and it's hard to love myself when I see my mom in the mirror sometimes. It's hard for me. I look more like my dad, thank goodness, right?
Same.
But it's only because my mom and I have such a tumultuous relationship where we have to both put on a front with each other, right? Because if we didn't, we would never talk. And she's my mom, so I don't want her to go through life, well, my daughter didn't talk to me, and it's not that I don't want to talk to her, right? It's just that she's very toxic and there's a certain amount of that I'm willing to accept right now. Um, Amy, how do you feel like you loved yourself through all of your love relationships?
Honestly, I don't think I did.
Yeah.
Like, there were times where, with some connections, like maybe friendships, that I would feel joy in the moment with them,
Yeah.
but not actually directed at myself. Like if I even thought about myself at all, it would be like, ooh, like I don't even belong here. Like I did something.
Alea. Sorry,
Hi, it's Lee. It's
Lee.
Leah.
It's Leah.
Oh, yeah,
Hi.
Leah, Sherry, it's so wonderful to be in the space with you. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's lovely to meet you.
So nice to meet you too.
And Amber up here, and then Amy over here. And we are talking about how did you love yourself with all of your love relationships. And
Mm.
Amy, what was you saying? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's okay. I was saying I don't feel I actually loved myself in any of them. Like I could feel joy in the moment with friends, but I don't think I ever actually loved myself or loved things about myself in them. Yeah, and especially with my mom, that was like the hardest connection I've had. So that was even harder. So
Hmm. Do you do what I do with my mom and just kind of unfortunately wear a mask?
Yeah, I did. And more now, I'm trying to kind of be softer with her. And I notice that when I am, she responds. And I find like our connection has gotten a lot stronger. But
Yeah,
there is an initial reaction to kind of hide in front of her. And I have to be conscious that I'm doing it.
right.
Oh yeah, okay. Like only this year I let myself be comforted by her and I felt like, "Oh, I miss my mom." And it's weird, like I know lots of people are like that, but I haven't been able to until lately. So,
Um, how's your relationship with your mom like? Has it always been good? Has it been rocky your whole life?
no, it's been rocking my whole life. We fought my entire life pretty much. Like, yeah, just the recent years it's been, well, more fights too, but more evening out.
Yeah,
Been hard, like ever since I was little.
yeah. Like I was saying before, it's hard. It's hard sometimes to love yourself. I know it was for me when I saw her in the mirror, and not necessarily a physical mirror, but when I felt her energy coming out of me, or I did something, and just like that, consciously go, "Oh, that's my mom."
Yeah.
That's exactly what my mom would say. That's exactly what my mom would do. And okay, let's rewind.
Yeah, and I feel like that part of me always comes out in love relationships. So
Right.
it's
That's the
brought out
part.
even.
It's funny how we're conscious of that in the beginning of the relationship because we don't want the other person that to see any resemblance to the mom.
Mhm.
Any resemblance because when we know if they're going to meet them one day and clearly dislike them, right? Um, that they're gonna see, right? And we don't want them to see that we could have that in us.
Yeah.
It's really interesting how I looked back on that, and the further down the line, you really can't hide it. It's just part of your nature. It's part of how you were raised up.
Hmm.
It's conditioning and training and um I you would catch myself all the time. That's not me. That's not me, right? So I had to actually love that part of me, learn to love that part of me, which in turn gave me a different love for my mom, right? I mean, it's a different type of love. It's not a mother-child nurturing type of love, right? It's more of a well, she's my mom and she's my mom type of love, right? I I I don't expect my mom to make any changes. She's in her 70s. I the changes that need to come from me, need to come from me. And why that's hard to swallow sometimes too, right? Why am I the only one that's got to change? Why am I, you're right. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of being the only one that's making an effort to change anything, right? But God, if my family heard me say, am I the only one that's trying to change anything? They would be like, you're not changing nothing. But of course, they haven't talked to me in so long they don't even know me, right? They're judging me by who I used to be, not who I've fully come into. They don't even know me. All they know is what my mom goes back and forth and tells. I know their whole life stories because she comes back and tells me them. We don't need to have a relationship. Um, I don't know. Amber, how about you? How have you loved yourself through all of your love relationships? I hope there's not a second part to this. There could be. I don't know.
I don't really know how to answer. Well, I didn't, like in my past romantic relationships, I definitely didn't love myself at the time. Um, yeah,
Do you ever remember a time when you loved yourself in a past love relationship?
no, just the one I'm in now. Yeah.
Me too, me too. How about you? It's Leah, right?
It's Leah. Yeah, it's the same for me. I wasn't very good in my past love relationships prior to being experiencing soul connection. I wasn't good at loving myself at all. I've always overgive, and I was very good at giving. Terrible receiver. I've had to really learn how to receive on this journey, and it's so interesting. All the attempts to give love to my twin
Hmm.
when you're initiated with this divine love or you're activated, I would get the complete opposite, reaction. And then you're starting to see, hey, with these patterns, what's going on here? The formula is not working. And then, through that, then you start to realize, oh, I can't receive, and my twin is showing me that. So I've had to, and I'm still working on it. It's not perfect. Yeah.
And I'm still working on it. Oh, um, Lee reminded me that we met 20 years ago this year.
Congratulations.
And I looked back and I was like, what? We've been married for 10 of those 20 years, and y'all know what the first 10 years were like. Um, um, I I can look back and honestly say that there were parts of me that I didn't love when I met Lee, and parts of me that I did. But then the further along we got, especially in the first 10 years, the more that I the more that I would lose a lot of that for myself. Just like by what you were saying, giving, 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 giving. And I also knew that Lee had never had um someone to listen or someone to hear him. So I wanted to, after so many, I had been married um twice before, and one of them was after I met him. Right. We all know that I met Ron after I met Lee. But I would I would switch up. I'd be real comfortable in my physical self, and my inner self was a mess. Then I'd be real comfortable with my inner self, and my physical self was a hot mess. And I just couldn't find a balance. And and sometimes I still can't. Sometimes I still struggle and I have to we Lee and I just do things so differently now with this connection being so solid, and we can feel so much into each other. I can wake up in a really bad mood and just be tossing coffee cans and just be in just a shitty mood. And Leo feel that, and instead of engaging in my shitty mood and us bickering back and forth, he'll just feel it and put his arm around me.
Mhm.
But then
Mm.
he feels that part of me that I'm not in love with that day, right? The day before, I could have been all in love with all of me and floated and in flow through the whole day and just been happy and at peace. And then a picture or a thought or a memory or something will come up and try to just eat at it. Um, and oftentimes that that would have been my focus. I would have switched the focus off of me and onto those memories and those pictures and those, and then create a whole story. And learning the difference between self-love and self-care was big for me, right? Um, for most of my life, I thought they were the same thing. I what the hell's the difference? Self-love and self-care, right? And it's so different. My self-care routine is on point. I love my bubble baths. I love them. I take them often. The candles and the bath bombs and all that mess, right? I like to go get my feet done and my massages and and my nails done. And I don't get to do it all the time, right? But I love my self-care. I love the products. I love the blue hair. I love it. Self-love is completely different. It's completely different. There's parts of me I still don't love. I may have loved it yesterday, but I find out today that, man, I'm not real fond of you today. Um, what have others told you about love? Wait a minute, that's not it. What have others told you? I I don't know if Lee was drunk and he don't even drink. Um, what have others told you love you? Wait a minute. Love about you in your love relationships. What have others told you they love about you in your love relationships? But I'm going to tell you how he wrote it. He says, "What have others told you love about you in your love relationships?" I was all confused. Um, but what have others told you they love about you in love relationships? So, Amy, can you remember what somebody said that they love about you in any of your past relationships?
Honestly, like I'm drawing a blank because that just shows me that I can't even like take in because there have been things said, of course, but definitely kindness, caring. But it's yeah, I struggle to, you know, receive that too.
Because when you hear it, you're like, you don't believe it.
Yeah, I'm like, do you even know me? Like,
Start it.
oh, you, it's because you don't know me.
Oh,
That's why you're saying.
the other day I came down the steps and it was the morning time and Lee had already been down there. And it when you're in our living room and on the couch, our staircase is open and you can see, who's coming down the steps. And He said, "Oh, you look beautiful today." And I'm like, "I don't know what you see. I don't feel beautiful." Walked home in the other room,
Yeah.
right? And I heard Lee say, "Hey, I'm trying to compliment my wife," right?
Yeah.
And I walked back in. I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you." Right? But it's like that. You don't feel it for yourself, right? So you brush it over.
Mm.
And Amber, is anything standing out to you?
Yeah, I feel like I've definitely struggled to receive in the past as well. I
Yeah.
feel like I can't even really remember when I'm trying to remember. I feel like I don't know. Like I don't know. I can't. Yeah. So I probably just wasn't really able to receive at the time um, that love and appreciation because I didn't feel that way for myself. So
Leah?
I have a pattern to where every serious relationship I have, when I enter in, there's some sort of tragedy with my partner, like big stuff. And I've just often been told about, just really good at being loyal and being dedicated and just being there when people are having a really, really hard time. And then most recently with my twin, I've gone through the same thing with my twin. He had tragedy. Family had a wildfire last year, and just you just stick by and you're just there. What do I need to do to help? So that has carried over into Soul Connection. And his name is Ian, by the way. Ian always tells me how patient I am. He's particularly always saying, "You're so patient. You're so patient." So that is some of the feedback that I've gotten on how I love and past relationships that's carried into this new phase or cycle of loving my life.
Do you feel you're patient?
Yes.
Do
But
you?
I'm lovingly patient, and I give forward that the patience that I know has been extended to me and given to me. So at this time in my life, I'm happy to gift it forward and not be so quick to react and just kind of do a wait and see. And I do a lot of trusting and a lot of faith and just letting things kind of unfold and take form without trying to get in the way. Yeah.
It's a lot though when we don't believe what somebody's saying to us. I I was trying to look back when I was asking the question on what I remember. And I can honestly say that I don't remember anybody saying anything um gosh, loving or positive until I was a teenager. You know, my first boyfriend was he was very vocal. Uh, um, and he built me up a lot. Uh, and my first marriage, I can really remember one time, and it was when we were divorcing, that he said something to me that just I knew he meant. I knew he meant. I had come down the steps. He was coming to get the kids for the weekend, and I was going out with my cousin, and I had come down the steps. I don't even remember what I was wearing, but I was feeling fly. And yeah, I come down the steps and I'll never forget his words was, "You look absolutely gorgeous."
Wow.
And it did something to me because I knew that he had just finally saw something. We'd been married for 13 years. He finally saw something. And I felt good. The rest of the night I was just floating, right? I had a boyfriend after my marriage who was great about telling me about how much he loved my eyes and my smile. And those things I didn't believe. I was at that point still going, yeah, 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 whatever. It's not as pretty as your smile type of shit, right? And then um I just don't remember anything else until we. And it's still every day. And because of the connection that we have, those those words and that energy has helped me heal those things that I didn't love in me. It's another gift that this connection gives once you get to this, I want to call it a phase, the twin flame phase. Let's call it a phase until you get to soul connection, right? Twin flame journey is what it is. It's it's a journey. If you can make it through, and you got your union and you've got your soul connection. And that doesn't mean things are perfect. It just means there doesn't mean there's any less trials or less drama or less one thing after another. It's just when you're connected, you handle things differently. It's two in one working like a machine in balance. And there's gotta be there's gotta be so much love for yourself to be able to accept the connection fully. We will wipe it off. Everything, right? Everything. And because, especially in the beginning, when we when we when we are practicing not loving ourselves, we go into big practice over that, especially in the beginning of this journey with this other human being that you're connected to. We will feel an energy that's not so great with them, or we see it differently in them than we would with another partner or somebody else. Oh, that was disrespectful, but he would never disrespect me, right? You'd feel that.
Yeah.
And you let it go. And then something happens again. And what we're doing, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing to ourselves? And what are we doing to the connection? Letting our minds dictate everything over what we're feeling. I know that for years, I'll say years, I always thought I could read Lee's mind, and it was just a hot mess of cesspool of hell up there, right? He was just a freaking grumpy old human being. And he left this pillow down here and it don't go there, right? And he left the refrigerator door open and the toilet seat up and there's whiskers in the sink. there's there's it's all of this wants to override all of this.
Yeah.
Lee would never do anything to hurt me. Never. Emotionally, mentally, physically, nothing. Does he hurt me sometimes? Yeah, he does. He does. I hurt him too. But now instead of, well, you hurt me, you're a dick. Right? Now it's that hurt. And can we talk about it?
Yeah.
Can we talk about why it hurt? Let's figure that the fuck out. Right? Figure out why it hurt. I mean, the hurt's already done. Let's figure out not why you said something or done something that hurt me, right? That I want to know why it hurt me. And let's find that out together.
Mhm.
And going in and looking at the parts of me that are my mother that I have to accept. School's just been canceled. School's just been canceled. Did you hear all the beeps?
Mhm.
They just
Is
canceled
it
school.
because of the weather or the snow
Yeah.
there?
Yeah,
Hmm.
they just canceled school. So fun
Yeah.
times. Fun times. Like the kid, he's been out of school for on Christmas break, and Monday was the first day back. They didn't go Monday, they didn't go Tuesday, they go today, and they didn't go, they went Wednesday and today, and they're off on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Sherry, I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio, so I totally understand. I
You're in
remember the school breaks, and then I
snow
just
country.
didn't, right, and then I didn't go back to school when I was supposed to because of that snow. It's just that time. So my heart is with you in
We
that.
spend a lot of time in Cleveland. We spend a lot of time in Cleveland. We follow a band from up there. And so we go a lot of going to the Beachland Ballroom at the end of this month up in Cleveland. Freaking love it up there. Um, but how do we get to this place where we can find that self-love, all of it, all of it, even the parts that we can't even look at and face? There was a me that was 20 years ago that is clearly not the me now. Not even close. Um, and I'm the biggest one that can't see it. I'm the one who really can't see it. I feel it. I feel it all day. Um, and there are some folks too that would never believe it, that I'm not the same person that I was 20 years ago. Um, and I don't care because I love myself and I know that I love my heart enough not to break it on my own. I love myself enough not to put myself in any more heartache or trouble or drama or anything. I love myself enough to not be like she was. And in 20 years, if I'm still here, I don't want to be like I am now. I mean, I better not be. And I love me. I love me. There's parts of me that I don't I don't care for, but that's physical. It's physical. And sometimes I have to stand in front of the mirror and learn to love it, all of it. And that takes me standing in front of the mirror naked
Mhm.
until the repulsion's gone, until the self-judgment's gone, until there's nothing left but to look at myself and see love. The scars. There's so many scars. I mean, my stomach looks like a road map. And it takes a minute. It takes a minute. When you're getting older, it takes a minute. I'm looking at myself and I'm resembling my parents when they were older. I see resemblances of things. I see wrinkles. I see bags under my eyes. I see these things and I self-judge myself until I'm done. And there's nothing left but for me to just cry because I don't have to be standing there. The scars are why I'm standing here. And I love them and I appreciate them. And I'm glad I have them because they remind me every day that I fought for this life. And I'm here because of them. And I fell in love with them. And all the bumpiness that goes with it. It is what it is. And you know what? If I don't like it, I can remove it, right? It's fine. It's physical. It's physical. I love myself the way I am. This medicine I'm on makes me keep losing weight, and I'm cool with that too. I love that too. But if I didn't lose another pound, I'd be okay. Happy even. But sometimes I relapse and go back. And I have to stand in front of the mirror again. Lee and I were in session and we were talking to somebody and had reminded me. She said, Sherry, I was watching one of your old videos and when you were saying that you had to stand and look at yourself in the mirror naked. And automatically Spirit was like, yeah, girlfriend, you're gonna have to do that shit again. Right? And I was like, yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to do that again. And I did. And I just needed a refresher course, right? Because this time when I saw my scars, I already knew that I loved them.
Mm.
I already remembered why I loved them. And what part of yourself, Leah, do you have trouble loving?
Your question is right on time. I'm very grateful for it. Um, there's a lot of processing
Hmm.
when we begin this journey, a lot of processing. And the fact that we didn't process for so long, and there's a backup with what's in the emotions and what's in the heart, the grievances, and everything. It's not an overnight process to go all the way back in. It's in phases. And the most recent phase is I am trying to love myself in the acceptance and realization of the truth. And it took me 44 years to realize this, that I grew up in an alcoholic home. It took me 44 years to come to terms with that truth. And I've started Al Anon, and I am just digging the last part of that root up that has really prevented me from loving all of me.
God, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Amy, about you?
Um, for me, it's like more aging, just noticing little things, like really small lines and like, the way my neck looks different now than it did, and just little things like that. But I try to think about when I'm older, like say if I'm, 90, and if I were to be thinking that I felt old now, like I'd be like, oh, that was so dumb. Because I even felt old when I was in my 20s. Like I remember turning 20 and feeling like I'm old, I'm getting old, like just insane. I know there's this thing in me that like the aging, it does affect me, like just pinpointing little things about myself.
Hmm. It does. And I know for a fact that that's not only feminine energy that 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 experiences that, right? I know that. Just masculine energy just doesn't seem to wanna they don't seem to wanna face it. We will go out and buy creams and serums and freaking masks and Botox and everything, right? But but the guys just get more and more and more seemingly depressed about it.
See, all I can think is like, oh, there's this thing about guys look better with age.
Yeah,
Like
right.
and try to reverse it, and guys want to look, more mature faster. So it's like, ah, like
That'd be nice. Amber, what are you finding it hard to love about yourself?
Um, I feel like the thing you were saying about, when you see your mother in yourself and when you feel like you kind of you find it a bit hard to accept it. It's like, oh, it feels a bit uncomfortable.
Mhm.
So I'm definitely working on that stuff. Yeah, like what I'm noticing myself like trying to be controlling and I can be a bit like overpowering. Like I'm trying to take my power back, but it's coming across like quite aggressive and like I'm trying to dominate, like so yeah, I'm definitely practicing being aware of that and like accepting and loving that part of me as well. And these parts of me that just come from my pain and my trauma and what I've learned as a child. And yeah, and there's definitely like physically, I've definitely done a lot of work physically on affirmations and the mirror stuff like you're talking about. And sometimes I notice myself like I'll go I'll notice that I've not really connected like with my body in the mirror in a while, and it's like subconsciously I realize like I don't mean to do it, but it's like I catch myself like, okay, I need to give myself a bit of love again. And yeah, like when I was a child, I didn't know my biological dad or my that my half of my DNA is Greek, so
Mhm.
I didn't understand why I had certain features and like big bushy dark eyebrows, and I even had a mustache when I was a teenager, and like my curly bushy hair. So things like that have been hard for me to love and accept.
Mhm.
So I still do notice sometimes that it's kind of still in there, faintly in the background. Yeah, even though I've done a lot of work on it. Yeah.
Isn't it interesting how the things that we don't like in ourselves, like nobody else will see it? They'll be like, "You're beautiful. What are you talking about? What is going on? I would love to have all that bushy hair, right?"
me too.
And it's like it's like when you see a picture of yourself with a group of people, your eyes zone in on you, and you're the only one that looks a mess. You're the only one with a messed up face. You're the only one that looks like you've had freaking 19 Coca-Colas for lunch, right? And you zone in on yourself and automatically start judging, and everybody else looks great and you look horrible. But guess what? If you pass the picture over to another person that's in the picture, you look great. And they're the ones that look a mess.
Yeah.
It's a judgment of self,
Mm-hmm.
right? Nobody else sees us like that. And nobody else sees us as bad as we see ourselves.
Mm.
That's what we got to work on this week.
Do you feel that that mainly comes from childhood?
I feel, yeah, a lot of it's instilled in us when we're younger. Um, we're also girls, so we have a lot more pressure. A lot more pressure. We can't just get up in the morning and put a hat on and not worry about our hair or our face and throw a hoodie on and a pair of sweats and walk out the door. It takes a minute.
Mm-hmm.
We're taught that we have to paint our face, we have to curl our hair, we have to look cute. And if we don't, how do we feel
So immediately it's we can't be authentic.
at all?
Somewhere along the line, wherever that starts, is you
Yeah.
don't have permission to be you in this world.
Right.
Mhm.
I even started straightening my hair at 10 years old
Hmm.
until like I wouldn't wear it curly or natural at all because I just felt like I hate it. Like I just couldn't love it. Yeah.
I have very naturally curly hair, but I've straightened it so much that I have to use a curling iron to curl it.
Wow.
Yeah. It's yeah. It was curly.
I only started like a few years ago.
Yeah.
That's when I stopped straightening it a few years ago.
Embracing it, right?
Mhm.
I lost mine almost. I mean, it was so thin. It was so thin. So now I just really love it. Appreciate that I got some.
Mm.
I would also appreciate if I had a bald head, right? There's beauty in that.
Yeah.
There's freedom in that.
Yeah.
Freedom in that. All right, ladies, please come back next week.
Mm.
Send you some links. But
Sounds good.
I know we're missing two at least, so we'll have them coming in next week. I don't know. We'll get this link working. And I hear Lee and the guys finishing up, so we're gonna finish up.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, see you guys next week. If you guys should come on out.
Yeah.
Come
Thank you.
on in.
Sounds. Thank you, Sherry.
Bye, guys. Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Bye.